Hey church, good evening, and it is Saturday, episode 6 of Easter Evenings. You know, when we think about Saturday of Holy Week, we normally skip it. We normally don't talk about Saturday. And Saturday is called a silent Saturday or Holy Saturday. And when I read these verses in Matthew chapter 27, 62 through 66, it describes exactly what's going on about a Roman guard being placed to make sure that no one comes and steals Jesus' body. You know, as we think about Silent Saturday and we think about exactly what's going on, after Jesus was crucified and God made a big pronouncement on that Friday when Jesus was crucified and Jesus said from the cross that it is finished, everything changed. And that next day on that Saturday, as we talk about God being silent and God being silent in the sense that nothing is happening, I think about the disciples. I think about the disciples scattering that evening that Jesus was arrested. I think about them seeing Jesus crucified. And I think about them thinking themselves even about being arrested on that Saturday. Fast forward with me, we think about Easter Sunday morning, the victory in Jesus. But what about Saturday? There's so much to be said on this Silent Saturday because the thing is that we all, if it was not for the Silent Saturday, that we would all think that it just happened. If Jesus was just buried for 15 minutes in the tomb, we wouldn't have the expectation of Easter morning. We think about Silent Saturday in the stance that at this moment when all hopelessness can't be found, that Jesus responds victorious on Sunday morning. But furthermore, in our own life, there's some Silent Saturdays. I think about us as believers that there are some times where we don't feel like God is listening to us. That sometimes we don't hear God Himself, that is God angry, is God upset, is there's trials and there's temptations, what's going on around us. But praise be to God for Sunday. You know, so as we talk about Saturday here this evening, and we think about the disciples being in fear, we think about exactly what's happening as Jesus is lying still in the tomb. As we think about those things, and we think about that darkness at this moment may have just won. But we're not hopeless. Because see, we know the entire story. We know exactly what happens. 1 Corinthians 15:17 says, your faith is futile and you're still in your sins if Christ had never been raised from the dead. But we know that Jesus rose from the dead. This day between Christ and the crucifixion and His resurrection would have been a time of grief and shock for the disciples. They were in shock of the death of Jesus. They were in shock of the betrayal of Judas. And they were in shock of their faith being just destroyed. At this moment, they're thinking that all is lost and nothing else could happen. Jesus made a promise, but yet Sunday's coming. And we know that as we celebrate Easter tomorrow morning, as we celebrate the resurrection, as we come to church and as we come to glorify and sing praises to Jesus, as we're in those silent spaces, maybe in our own faith, as we talk about Silent Saturday, maybe in your home right now with your children or with your family, that you're talking about aspects of what maybe you feel like God is maybe silent in a particular area of your life. But don't lose hope and don't lose the direction, the vision that Jesus is going to raise tomorrow morning. Maybe in your life and in what's going on around you. Ask your kids these questions and ask yourself this question, that in those areas that maybe God is silent, are you seeking after Him? Are you being faithful in your relationship with Him? Are you steadfast in reading His Word, steadfast in praying to Him, steadfast in leaning on Him and no one else? Today, as we pause and think about Silent Saturday, don't forget about the victory that happens tomorrow morning.